What is up guys, welcome to HITC Football. Today we're not doing a long intro because we have 20 players to talk about. There's no time, we have to be quick. I'm gonna tell you exactly what we're going to talk about in this video because I picked one young promising player for every single Premier League team and we're going to talk about every single one of them. We're going in alphabetical order, so we're starting with Afc Bournemouth. Okay, and for Bournemouth I have to cheat a little bit because I picked two players, but you guys don't mind, right? And I will tell you exactly why I picked two players because to be fair, I didn't really know a lot about the Bournemouth squad. I have to be honest guys, I didn't watch a lot of Championship last season. When I started to research these players, there were two very prominent names and I just picked both of them because I couldn't choose. And those two players are Jadon Anthony and Jordan Zamora. Both of them play on the left side for Bournemouth. Zamora is the left back and Anthony normally plays as the left winger. So both of them seem like promising players. They're both 22 years of age, so let's see what they can do this season in the Premier League. Next up is William Celiba from Arsenal. The Gunners already bought the player in 2019, but after several loan moves, he is finally back in London. And last season he was great for Marseille as they reached the Conference League semi-finals. And also in Ligue 1 he was just a great defender, very solid, so no surprise that Arsenal wanted him back for this season. And okay, I know it's only one game, but so far this guy has definitely performed. Because against Crystal Palace there was no doubt that this guy was the man of the match. And I personally think that this guy will go on and have a great season together with Arsenal. So definitely keep an eye out for this guy. And next up is a player from the Aston Villa squad, and my pick is Cameron Archer. He's a product of the Aston Villa Academy and he already made his first start for the club against Barrow in the EFL Cup in September 2021. And I mean, it's safe to say that it went kind of alright for him because he immediately scored a hat-trick in that game. It's definitely not a bad way to announce yourself to the Aston Villa fans. He then spent the second half of the season in the Championship with Preston North End, scoring 7 times in 20 games. And this guy wasn't done yet because he scored 4 goals in his first 4 appearances with the England under-21s. And he also started this campaign off pretty well because he already scored 2 goals in Aston Villa's pre-season. So it looks like this guy consistently shows himself as a very promising player, so let's see if this season he will be able to follow up on that. Next up is Aaron Hickey from Brentford, and what a signing this is from the club. The 20-year-old had an amazing season for Bologna in Serie A where he played 36 times, and also not bad, he had 6 goal contributions for the team as well. And for much of last season this guy was linked with Arsenal, but in the end he signed for Brentford, so a great signing for them. And Brentford has a reputation for signing great young promising players, so you just know that Aaron Hickey is gonna do pretty good as well. Defensively this guy is pretty solid, but this guy also loves to help out in attack, which is clearly illustrated by his 6 goal contributions from last season. But one thing he has to tone down a little bit is his aggression, because last season he had 7 yellow cards in Serie A. So if he can have a little bit more composure, I think that this guy will be a great player for Brentford. Next up we're going to talk about Brighton loanee Levi Colwill. And it only took 5 players for us to find a Chelsea loanee. Last season Colwill was already on loan at Huddersfield Town where he helped the Terriers to the playoff final before unfortunately putting the ball into his own net for the only goal of the game. And even though that game might not have been his best, his whole season in the Championship was absolutely great. This guy had a tackle success rate of almost 75% in the Championship. And all of his other stats also looked pretty decent, to be fair. And like I said, this guy comes from the Chelsea Academy and he already said that John Terry is a massive example for him. So it's not a surprise that Brighton took a punt on him and the 19-year-old can finally show himself in the Premier League this season. Next up is Chelsea's Carney Chukwuemeka. And I mean, the fact that the club paid almost 17 million pounds for an 18-year-old already says enough. Because last season this guy clearly impressed. He played 21 games where he only played 969 minutes. And 12 of those were in the Premier League with Aston Villa. And like I said, the fact that Chelsea almost paid 17 million pounds for the guy clearly shows that they have a plan for him. But personally, I don't know if he will actually play a lot for Chelsea. I don't think so. But anyways, he's 18 years old, so there's definitely time for him to become a regular at Stamford Bridge. Next up is Michael Olisay from Crystal Palace. And I have to be honest, I absolutely love this guy. This guy can basically play everywhere on the pitch and he's such a joy to watch. And last season he had 12 goal contributions in 31 games, which definitely isn't bad. And it's especially impressive because this guy wasn't injury free last season. And this guy's left foot is absolutely unbelievable and Crystal Palace have a very decent attack. Eberechi Eze, Wilfried Zaha and Odsonne Edouard together with this guy, that attack is very saucy. Let's hope that this guy can have an injury free season and I'm pretty sure that he will definitely impress for Crystal Palace. And next up is another big talent coming from Belgium because my pick for the Everton squad is Amadou Onana. This guy's position is mainly a defensive midfielder, but he can also play at centre back, at centre mid and as an attacking midfielder. And in all competition for Lille, this guy played 41 times and he's only 20 years old. So it basically shows that this guy has a lot of talent and is very mature for his age. He also made his debut for the Belgian national team and when I saw that game, I immediately saw that this guy definitely was special. And I'm pretty sure that Everton thought the same thing because they paid 32 million pounds for this guy. guy. And it only happens if you have a lot of faith in a 20-year-old, which Everton definitely seem to have, and I don't blame them because this guy has a huge potential. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this guy in the Premier League this season. And next up is Manor Solomon from newly promoted Fulham. The 23-year-old is loaned from Shakhtar Donetsk, and this guy is supposed to be a big talent. He already played 31 times for the Israeli national team where he scored 6 times. But unfortunately for the left winger, he's already injured and he might be out for quite some time. So right now Fulham is trying to sign Justin Kluivert, another young promising player. But let's hope that Solomon can make his return pretty soon so that we can all see how good this guy actually is. Moving on to the next club, and as we all know, last season wasn't great for Leeds. They were in a relegation battle and the team didn't really perform well. But there was one player that performed pretty decent, and that player was Joe Gelhart. He was one of the few shining lights for Leeds last season, because 6 goal contributions in just over 700 minutes definitely isn't bad in the Premier League. And like I said, last season this guy showed glimpses of how good he can actually be, so let's see if he can replicate the same thing this season. The next player is Leicester City's Luke Thomas, and I also feel like I have to mention Wesley Fofana here because he's still only 21 years old. But I am going with Luke Thomas here because Fofana already established himself as a great defender in the Premier League. And we all know how good he already is, but Luke Thomas is definitely a young player on the rise. Last season he played 22 times at left back for Leicester City. He also played with them in the Europa League, in the Conference League as well, and also in the FA Cup. And actually he was one of the few Leicester players that got a big increase in his market value last season. And I personally think that Leicester is going to have a difficult season. They already lost Kasper Schmeichel, they're potentially losing Fofana as well. So they definitely need somebody to step up in defense, and I personally think that Luke Thomas could be the man to do that. Next up is Fabio Carvalho for Liverpool. And just like with Leicester, there's another player that I definitely have to shout out for Liverpool. That player is Harvey Elliott. He's still very young, but also a very promising player. But today I want to talk about Fabio Carvalho because, well, basically he just moved to Liverpool and this guy looks like a great player. Last season this guy had 18 goal contributions in 36 games in the championship, which is definitely not bad for a 19-year-old. And to be fair, this could have been way more because he didn't play every single game because he was also out with an injury for quite some time. He already played for Liverpool this season in the Premier League in their first game. I don't think that this guy will be a regular this season for Liverpool, but he surely will make his minutes and he definitely has to show Klopp what he's made of. But I mean, all signs are promising for this guy, so definitely keep an eye out for him this season. Next up is Manchester City's Cole Palmer. The English midfielder just turned 20 years old, but this season might be his breakout campaign. Last season he had 12 goal contributions in 8 games in the second Premier League, which is definitely not bad. He also made 4 appearances in the Premier League where he only played 121 minutes. But in the Champions League he managed to get a goal in only 38 minutes across 3 games. Since Raheem Sterling now left the club, this might open up an opportunity for Cole Palmer to play a little bit more this season. But like I said, this could possibly be the breakout campaign for the Manchester City Academy graduate. Next up is Manchester United, and my pick is Alejandro Garnacho. Obviously Manchester United don't really have a lot of good options in the forward line, but that's why I personally think that Garnacho could actually feature quite a lot for Manchester United this season. The Argentine can play on either flank and he already made his Premier League debut against Chelsea last season. And possibly he could have a similar campaign to Anthony Alangas from last season. Next up is the 22-year-old Sven Bodman for Newcastle. The club signed the young Dutch defender for more than £30 million from Lille, where last season he only played 25 times due to injury, but still he had 4 goal contributions from centre back. This guy is a big talent. He's 195, so definitely a rock in defense. And personally I think that this is one of the better signings from the entire transfer window, because clubs like AC Milan were also trying to sign this guy because honestly he's very talented. Next up is Nottingham Forest Brennan Johnson. And last season this guy was pivotal in Nottingham Forest promotion push. And this season Johnson is clearly looking to make his mark in the Premier League as well. Last season the 21-year-old grabbed 16 goals and 9 assists in 46 championship games. And let's hope for Nottingham Forest that this guy can hit the ground running in the Premier League because they will definitely need it. Next up is Gavin Bazunu for Southampton. Last season he was owned by Manchester City, but Southampton paid almost £30 million to sign the player. And with Fraser Forster having joined Tottenham, this guy is now the main goalkeeper for Southampton. But Southampton are going to have a difficult season, so hopefully this guy can help them to stay in the Premier League. The next player is Jet Spence for Tottenham. Last season Spence was one of the best players in the Championship and he was integral to helping Nottingham Forest gain Premier League promotion. He's a great fullback and all in all just a very intelligent defender who can also help out in attack because his 7 goal contributions in 32 games definitely isn't bad. So it's very understandable that Spurs paid more than £13 million to sign the player. He didn't play in the first game for Spurs, but I'm pretty sure that he will get eased into the squad this season. And if he gets his chance, I'm pretty sure that this guy will make an impact in the Premier League. Next up is Gianluca Scamacca for West Ham. The 23-year-old was great for Sassuolo last season where he scored 16 goals in 36 games in Serie A. And West Ham had to to pay almost 33 million in order to sign this player. Chukwuemeka already played 7 times for the Italian national team, and big clubs like PSG also wanted to sign him this summer. And it looks like this guy is a goal machine. He's only 23 years old, so I'm pretty sure that he will do very well in the Premier League. The next player is Pedro Neto for Wolves. The Portuguese forward can basically play everywhere in the front three, but he's mainly a left winger. And I mean, he's still only 22 years old. He was already great for Wolves, but last season he was out for almost the entire season with a knee injury. And it's easy to forget how good this guy actually was before his injury. And this guy is clearly very talented. He already played 3 times for the Portuguese national team, where he also scored 1 goal. And after barely playing last season because of his injury, his transfer value is still almost 30 million pounds. So I personally hope that he can stay fit for the entire season, and then we might be able to see the Pedro Neto before his injury again. And believe me, that is a player who you definitely want to watch. So guys, that's it. 1 young promising player for every team in the Premier League this season. And like I said, I was only able to pick 1 player for every team. And actually there are players that I couldn't talk about, but this is where you guys come in. Let me know in the comments down below who you believe is the biggest talent of your club. And as always, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Watch my videos on the end screen right now, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.